Hi there, my name is Zach Zube, and this is my friend Anna, who will be helping us out demonstrating our practice today. So this practice is a good practice to wind down. So whether that means you need to calm the nerves for anxiety, or whether you want a practice that will help you get to bed for a good night's sleep, this would be a great practice to do that. So we're going to emphasize a few things. We'll emphasize slowing down the pace of exhalation, and this is going to help trigger the nervous system into a state of rest and digest, which helps to undo our constant engagement with stimulation and technology, emotions, thoughts, and the outside world. So hopefully after doing this practice, you'll feel centered, calm, and either ready to sleep or at least ready to relax. So we're going to begin lying down on the back. You can lie down with the head to the front. And we're going to start with a variation of bridge pose. So to do this, you'll start with your feet flat on the floor, stepped in near the hips, and the arms resting down at your side. Before we lift the hips, I just want to practice moving the arms and getting us tuned into the breathing. So take a smooth inhale breath, lifting both arms up overhead. Reach as far behind you toward the floor as it's comfortable without straining the shoulders. And when you exhale, bring the arms back down next to the hips. Just do this 2 more times. And we just start emphasizing the length of your exhalation. So when you're breathing out, make it last just a little bit longer than your inhale breath. This last time as you move the arms, notice the extra length, the sense of stretch you get through the spine as the arms lift, the ribs expanding. And when you exhale, feel the sensation of grounding into the floor through the back of your hips, the sacrum, the back of the head, the back of the shoulders, and then eventually the palms. Now we're going to add the hips. So on the inhale breath, please roll up with your hips and reach the arms overhead behind. With exhalation, roll down, easing the hips and the hands back down to the floor, emphasizing again the length of exhale breath. Do this 4 more times in repetition. Inhaling to rise, keeping the feet flat on the floor and spreading out all the toes. Exhaling slowly to roll down, easing the spine back into the floor. On the exhale breath, as you roll down, I sometimes like to think about meeting the floor, feeling that the floor is there to support and hold me. Doing this with a dynamic repetition, which is helpful sometimes when you go to sit still or to be still after you've been agitated. It can be very difficult. So sometimes it's useful to use this rhythmic, dynamic movement of breath and body to help entrain the distracted focus. Take a rest. Notice how you feel. Now we're going to roll over to the hands and knees and set up in table pose. When you come up to table pose, you want to align your wrists under the shoulders and the knees under the hips, spreading out all the fingers to help support you. And when you get to table pose, it's important to recognize if the wrists are too far under the body, this will hyperflex the joint, and sometimes it puts too much strain in the joint. So you can also walk the hands a few inches in front of your shoulders if that helps alleviate strain. So we're going to do a variation of revolved table pose to give a little twist to the spine. And there's a nice adjustment you can make if you want to take the knees a little bit wider apart, and so the toes kind of move toward one another. And then taking your left arm to start. Inhale, sweep your left arm open to the side, so you turn the body open toward the ceiling. Exhaling, thread the arm through underneath your right arm, bringing the shoulder and the side of the head gently to the floor. Then inhale and rise up to sweep open once again. Do this 2 more times in repetition, emphasizing again the slow nature of exhale breath. Smoothing out any places in the movement or the breathing that feel irregular, choppy, or inconsistent. When you approach the 3rd time, please stay there. Take a smooth breath. You can use the leverage of the right hand to help make sure the right shoulder and chest don't collapse in. So you can press the floor and gently roll the right shoulder back. At the same time, you might think of fishing your left arm through a little bit farther from the shoulder behind you. Make sure that you're not collapsing into the face too much, creating strain in the neck. Always give a little extra lift of your hips up and back to decompress the spine. Smooth breathing. On your next inhale, sweep open again, unwinding toward the ceiling. And with exhalation, reach down to the ground. And align your knees more neutral now, under the hips. Between the sides, we're going to sit into child's pose, again in a rhythmic way. So inhale through cow pose, rolling the shoulders back, chest and tail lift. On exhale, round the spine like cat pose and pull the hips backward toward the heels. Let your elbows relax to the ground. And do this 3 times. So 2 more. Inhale forward. From the navel, exhaling, hug in and pull backward, letting the elbows gently relax to the floor, settling into the ground. 1 more time. We're going to use this as one of our main transitions today to help set the symmetry of the spine like a vinyasa between poses. And then come up on the hands and knees, inhaling. Feel free again to make the modification, widening the space between the knees for revolved table if that helps. And then take your right arm as you inhale, sweep it open to the side, fanning toward the ceiling. And when you exhale, thread through, emphasizing the slowing down of exhalation. Do it twice more, inhaling to sweep open and exhaling to fan through. You might notice there's a restriction in the range of motion for your ribs and shoulders, so don't feel like you have to force your body to fan all the way. Just go where the body allows without excessive strain. When you come to rest in the pose again, take a few deep breaths, smoothing out breath and elongating exhale. Again, the left hand is useful for leverage. You might tuck the right shoulder under more and lift the hips so you're not collapsing into the face and compressing the neck. On the next inhale, then go ahead and sweep open to the side. On the exhalation, place the hands to the floor and align your knees in once again under the hips. Let's do our 3 child's poses. Inhale, cow pose, and exhale, back. As you sit back again, let the elbows release to the ground, feeling the sense of surrender. Twice more. Be mindful that you don't have to strain the back to get into these postures. Again, just moving in and out at your own availability. Sitting back one last time on exhale. This time when you sit back, stay there. And if it's comfortable, walk the hands a little farther forward and give the extra length to your spine when you inhale, inching the crown of the head forward along the mat. And as you exhale, anchoring the sacrum and the hips backward the opposite direction. Take 2 more breaths just like that to cultivate length of spine. On the next breath, come up to the hands and knees once more. I'm going to grab some blocks for the next practice. So if you don't have blocks at home, you can employ some creative solutions like phone books, textbooks, or Tupperware. And you're going to place your hands on both of the blocks. This is going to give a little extra lift to the chest space and more clearance. So now I'd like you to step the right foot into lunge between the blocks and hands. Scoot the foot as much as you need to get it so that your heel is aligned under the knee and the knee doesn't push too far forward over your toes. And you'll notice here as well in the back leg how the knee is slightly behind the hip and the thigh bone is on the diagonal forward. This gives a gentle stretch to the front of the thigh. And as you can see, what Anna's doing is using the blocks so that she's not collapsing or hunching over the thigh too much. So take a smooth breath in, just give a little forward movement of the hips into the depth of lunge. And when you exhale, rock the hips backward. When you pull back, what I'd like you to do is actually keep the toes on the floor. This will do a few things. It's going to stretch the front of the ankle It also prevents overstretching the hamstring, which can sometimes be easy to do. So inhale again, shift forward. I'm going to do it 2 more times in rhythm. Exhale to shift backward, keeping the front foot flat. And do it 1 more time. Inhale into lunge. And exhale back from lunge. Now stay in this variation. And you don't have to overstretch the leg. You can keep the knee bent as much as you'd like. What I want you to focus on is 2 things. Inhaling to breathe into your lower back space around the back of your waist into your sacrum. And exhaling to gently melt the right hip crease backward into the body. So you'll notice if the pelvis is a little skewed or tilted in position. As you roll the right hip back, you'll feel your tailbone aligning straight behind you. Take 1 more smooth breath with slow exhalation. On the inhale breath, then guide forward into your lunge gently. And then you're going to step the right foot back to hands and knees. We're going to go right ahead into the second side when you're ready. So you can rest if needed, but if you're ready, go ahead and place your left foot through. Again, align the left knee over the heel and feel the slight angle of the right thigh behind you. With inhale breath, guide the hips a little deeper to lunge, and when you exhale, guide your hips backward out of the lunge, keeping the left foot flat to the floor. Do it 2 more times in repetition with smooth breath and slow exhales. Almost like you're slowing down your momentum on the exhalation. As you pull back on the 3rd time, you're going to stay there, taking a few deep breaths. Again, there's no need to overstretch the leg or to force a deeper experience. More important, I'd like you to breathe into your lower back space, in and around the sides of the lower back and sacrum. You exhale, melt the left hip crease into the body, gently easing that hip back. 2 more breaths like that, slow exhales. On the next inhale, shift into the lunge once more. And on the exhale breath, step your left foot back into the hands and knees position. Now you can move your blocks out of the way off to the side. And then we'll do our child's pose 3 times again. So inhale to cow pose. And exhaling, gently, slowly sit back, letting the elbows release to the ground. And again, breathing in, shift forward into cow. And breathing out, shift backward into child's. Soft elbows. And do it 1 more time. Excellent. Now just rest, take an easy breath. And then we're going to take a variation of crocodile pose. You're going to lie down flat on the belly. So shift forward and bring yourself to the ground the best way for you. As you come to rest, we'll show how to do this pose with a slight variation. So just like Anna's done here, you can fold your hands one over the other. For some of you, it might be more comfortable to cross the wrists or the forearms some other way, and that's fine. But resting the forehead or your chin on the arms so the neck stays centered instead of turning the head to the side. And then if you step your feet wider than the space of your mat behind you and allow the heels to then drop in toward the center, this gives external rotation to the thigh bones and hip joints and also allows a greater release across the low abdomen and front of the pelvis space. So with this pose, we're bringing the body really now to a good sense of stillness. There's nothing to do. There's no action to support the body. All we're doing is letting go of external effort. And it allows us now the opportunity to refine the breathing even further. So observe the pace of your breath. Once again, emphasize the slowness of exhalation. Observe throughout your breath any areas that feel choppy, irregular, jagged. Any places where the breath has an abrupt stop or start, or if it feels like the breath is moving in with a gasp or letting out with a sigh. Refine the breath to become smoother and more elongated in nature. And then observe the placement of the breath in your torso. Are you feeling that the breath is more in the ribs, expanding and contracting the ribs? If so, I want you to relax your ribs even more and guide your breath down to that low belly space against the floor. You'll start to feel an expansion of the belly into the ground, which then leads into the rebound effect of the breath wrapping into the sides of the waist and then across the band of your lower back. So with this breathing, I want you to feel more of the sacrum pulsing, rising up and down with each breath, and less of the rib cage pulsing. I'll let you rest for another moment, cultivating the smooth, elongated, low abdominal breathing. Now take your time, slowly draw your legs in from behind. And then we're going to roll over onto the backside. Once you're on the back, walking the feet toward the hips like you started, draw your knees toward the chest and just give your legs a gentle hug. You can hold the shins or the hamstrings if compressing the knees feels uncomfortable. And you're welcome to hold the pose still, or if you want, you can hug your legs a little deeper on the exhales and let them out a little bit on the inhales so you get a feeling of rocking your lower back and pelvis on the floor. Again, connecting to the rhythm of the breath with slower exhalations. As you hug your knees in this last time, hold them in for one more breath, smoothly and steadily breathing in and out. And then when you're ready, let the legs stretch out onto the floor. And once again, we'll make our way to Savasana. So the legs outstretched. Again, any distance apart. Sometimes it's even comfortable to take a wider span of the legs, and this facilitates an even greater sense of surrender and release of the body. The arms can also go out as wide as it's comfortable. And again, if you need props to support your body under the knees or under the back of the head, you're welcome to use them. And we'll rest for a few moments. Today, now, every exhalation, feel that there's a sense of heaviness overcoming the body. With each exhale breath, the body settles more deeply into the ground. You'll feel the gradual release of physical tension and effort. Observe the sensation of being held by gravity. The body, fully supported, fully held by that sensation that holds us to the earth, keeping us stable and grounded. Let the feeling of gravity seep into not only the muscles and the bones, but into each cell of the body. When you're ready, begin to sense the movement of your breath through the body like a wave rising and falling. You can feel the floor underneath you and sense the space around you once again. You might choose to gently move fingers and toes, wrists and ankles, any of the limbs of the body. And when you're ready, please roll over to the side in a fetal position and take a pause. From your side, then come upright to a comfortable seat. This would be a good time if you have a meditation practice or if you'd like to add some breathing or pranayama into your practice. For now, we'll just take a brief moment to sit and contemplate the effect of the practice. So we'll close the eyes, sitting comfortably. Relaxing tension from the forehead, behind the eyes, through the cheeks and the jaw. Observe the sense of stillness that might be present within. Please bring your palms together in front of the heart, bowing the head, and offer this moment for any gratitude, prayers, or intentions you'd like to offer within. When you're ready, let the arms relax. Slowly open your eyes. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Anna, for your assistance. Have a wonderful night, and may you be a light to yourself and to those around you. Namaste.